Hey, what is going on, guys? In today's video, I think we need to have an honest conversation about what I really do think is the biggest issue in EZFN. And that's that over the last few months, we've been losing all of the features that have allowed us to see the live player count. We previously had 4 different ways to see it, but it's been slowly coming down to now the only thing we have left is the live queue count. I strongly disagree with this, and I've seen this story happen before with Era earlier this year, and I do not want this to be repeated. And look, this is not to say I don't like EZFN. I'm trying to put down EZFN. That's not the point. The point is I think EZFN is great, but I don't want to see this mistake being made again. So I'm not going to just let this slide, and I think it's really important to talk about this. So previously we had 4 ways of seeing the player count in various parts of it. It was with the live queue count when you queued into the game, the server page, the server status page on the Discord, the live player count total on the launcher, and external tools would allow you to see the live player count as well against other projects. However, 3 of these have disappeared. The external tools no longer work, the total player count no longer works on the launcher, and the server status page is gone in the Discord right now. So basically, we've gotten to a point where to see the player count at all, you have to go all the way into the game, queue into a match, and then wait a few minutes to see if it ticks up to enough players or not. And honestly, looking at the benefits versus drawbacks, I just don't see any real benefit to you, the player. Now, theoretically, the idea is if the player counts are super low, people will be forced to go into the game to see if there's actual players. But let's really think about this, okay? Let's say there's 6 players in the queue with the live server page, live player count, all that, right? I just don't see how it's going to make enough of a difference to boost those player counts up. Just look at EU Duo, for instance. Since they've taken it out, EU Duo is still overall not great. Most of the time, it's just painfully bad. And I'm just not seeing how this situation is going to elevate the players enough to the point where we're at a situation to where it takes the player counts from unplayable to playable. It's just unplayable to unplayable. It's from 6 players to 10 players. I don't see it, right? And you're just wasting your players' time because now everyone has to go into the game for no reason just to back out. And this also works the other way, right? I basically oftentimes will ignore EU Duos these days. But honestly, there could be a random day where EU Duo is suddenly amazing. But you're going to have no idea because there's no way to check. And I'm not going to bother to check EU Duo every 3 seconds of my life, right? So I just don't see the benefit. You're wasting people's time. From the player's perspective, there's basically no benefit because I don't see how this idea is going to magically increase the player count enough to take bad, low player count days to good. It's just unacceptable. We can also reference what Project Era did earlier this year as they basically pulled the exact same move. So when I joined Project Era in mid-2023, the greatest feature I immediately noticed is the server page. Because the server page let you see exactly what matches were running, how many people were in them, so you could do a couple things. Like you could take the first available mode. You could also see if it was really worth playing that day. If there was low player counts, you might skip it. But if there were unexpectedly high player counts, you might want to play for extra time that you didn't previously plan for, right? And this was great. But in mid-season 7, after winter break had ended, it was really a slog on NA, especially in duos and squads, to get decent player counts. And what they eventually decided to do in February is drop the server page altogether. That meant there was no way to see the live player count at all, as the Discord bot that showed you the total players also spontaneously disappeared. And the argument was that this was going to boost player counts as you would be forced to get on and check it. And honestly, from the people I've spoken to, from my experience, it made basically 0 difference. It was still just as bad. And now you were just wasting time as you had to go into the game all the way to see there were no players and you just back out of that game. Just a complete waste of time. And EZFN were kind of going into the same situation where, it's just this is not helping. And look, the fact of the matter is, though, I don't think all is lost, right? We still have the queue counter, so it's still better than Arrow was once they took it away, but we are one step away from having no indication of the player count at all, and this is a very slippery slope road to go down. But we know this is reversible. We know they have the technology to put these things back. And from what I've spoken to developers, although the live server status page is an intended change as well as external tools not working, the Discord bot might be a bug, so hopefully they can turn this thing around. But the fact of the matter is we really need to see this improve. I just really hope that we turn the ship around because look, I really do like EZFN. I want them to succeed, but I think this is completely the wrong direction to go to be locking things down. I think that's just the wrong step, and we need to turn the ship around. And with that, I hope this video was interesting, and I'll catch you in the next one.